If every man suddenly disappeared, what would happen to the world? It will become no man land. You should read Why the Last Man. I can't really think up any hypothetical scenarios that aren't covered in that story. Approximately half of the vehicles on the road would suddenly crash. Big urinal on suicide watch. Axe needs a new marketing strategy to target the female market. Sperm banks will need armed security. My mother would miss me very much. A fair bit of lesbianism. A lot of people would be real sad when their dad, brother, husband, friend died. It's a no man's world. It's raining no men's, no man in the mirror. Toilet seats would stay down. Sort by controversial if you hate yourself. Condom industry would disappear. I don't know what the world would be like. I just know I would be very, very sad because my husband would be gone. Edit. Oh my gosh. I certainly wasn't expecting any response to this. Thank you, everyone. I can't wait to show this to my husband when I get home tonight. Thanks to cryobanks, we'd likely see more men reappear within a decade. Question is, where are we going to? Is it a new planet? Or are we just dying? The sperm banks would be on lockdown and there would be federal initiatives to compensate young, healthy women for pregnancies. The males would be given preferential status to ensure they are protected or do not die out. Killing any male would be met with capital punishment. Those men would grow up incredibly privileged and entitled. And it would cause a huge societal black hole. Considering that would be more than half the population, I think they would be a very high demand for essential worker jobs. Where do the men disappear to? As a man, I would like to know. The next generation of men from the sperm banks are going to be living a very happy life. The sex toy industry would be lit. Same thing as what would happen if we disappeared every woman in the world. Civilization would collapse within a few months. If you removed a random sample of 50 of the population, it would be bad enough. 100 of either sex would be worse due to the concentration of essential specialists working in fields dominated by one sex or the other. A lot of grief for their children, partners, brothers, fathers, and other relatives and friends. I'd be sad AF too, since that would include my partner. I do think it would be enough pain for people to not want to live anymore. What's up with all these threads trying to pit the sexes against each other? Millions of sad moms. It will be full of women. And lo, the gas station hearkened them home, and said unto the men, the smokes you need are within me. Come and gather. And the men did. Forever to be lost in the limbo that is. He went out for a pack of cigarettes 20 years ago and got lost on the way home. The Book of Nicotine. 7-Eleven. The infrastructure would collapse. Given that the vast majority of blue-collar work is done by men, 93.8 in construction for example, infrastructure would be devastated. Electrical work, plumbing, mechanics, you name it. Almost everything that requires maintenance would degrade rapidly. Judging from the amount of female coworkers I have as a machinist, or lack thereof, I'd say every civilized society would come to a grinding halt within a day or two. Eventual extinction of the human species. My advice is to not sort by controversial. Society would collapse. That would also happen if every woman in the planet suddenly disappeared. Kind of a silly question. Civilization as we know it would probably come to a temporary if not permanent end. The bulk of workers that build and maintain our infrastructure are overwhelmingly male. Usually 85–90. The remaining 10–15 of women that have knowledge of maintaining utilities and infrastructure. Probably wouldn't be enough woman power to continue running things like servers, satellites, utilities, etc. It would fall apart. Same if women disappeared. We need each other. I'm tired of people pretending we don't. A lot of women who post on Reddit would be stoked. Now children pay attention. Right next to the Tasmanian tiger statue there is the statue of another extinct animal called man. Unlike the Tasmanian tiger, we don't really know what happened. One day they just disappeared. Energy use will skyrocket as kids now have unchecked access to thermostats. Total societal collapse and mass starvation. Most of the remaining people would be dead within half a year. Third world countries would ironically be much better off because their populations don't depend on infrastructure as much. I would finally know if I'm trans or not. Finds a way. I would go on a nice long walk all alone at night. Well, the war in Ukraine would stop for starters. World peace. The world would be full of happy, fat women. Sperm would become wildly valuable. I would be painfully upset my dad and boyfriend disappeared. But on the other hand, I would feel safe going outside alone for once. Suicide and homelessness percentages would drop drastically. Is it just males of humans? Or males of everything? And at what level determine whether it is culled? Is it just the existence of the Y chromosome, which means all male sperm would disappear too from sperm banks?